Hello citizens! Today is my day. My suffering is finally over. Ever since the Zeus came out in the PTU, all I did was see videos and comments about the ship. But since I'm a proud owner of a Zeus ES, I did not want to see her for the first time through someone else's eyes. Basically, I experienced days of passion, feeling like the friend who fell behind with the season finale, or a poor guy who still has to watch the Super Bowl and has to make it through the evening alive without knowing the outcome of the game. Spoilers! Spoilers everywhere. It was a nightmare. But now it is finally over. Now I will embark on an adventure as yet unknown to other human beings. Today I will stop using my C1 spirit and get my hands on my new Zeus ES. No one, I repeat, no one has ever experienced this feeling. Let's start from the outside. The Zeus has a wonderful shape, the shape of a Dorito, the shape of an arrow. In short, it is pointy. Pointy as all threatening weapons should be.
Round is not scary. Pointy is scary.
Coming from the C1, the dimension I want to make sure of immediately is the beam. The C1 was unbearably, unnecessarily, and boringly wide. The Zeus is not a stick, but it loses almost 10 meters in width and a little more with the landing gear down and the two flaps raised. This will certainly allow us to lose less time waiting to be able to get out of the hangar. With the C1 incredibly wide wings, if you remember, the experience was something like this. We already mentioned the Zeus flapping ears. I imagine there will be people who will like them, but I'm also quite sure that they will give a few people with OCD a bit of trouble because they don't drop all the way down. The three landing legs are low, but not too far apart, and this means that landing with the Zeus on rough terrain may not be such a drama. But now let's go inside. We enter the ship through the rear ramp, and I have a strange feeling of being inside of a Crusader ship. But this feeling is quickly shattered because we all know that Crusader ships uses only doors manufactured in the Hobbit Shire, while here they are more squared. The ES version has 32 SCUs. This version will not make you rich with trade and hauling, unlike the CL, which has an astonishing 128 SCUs. But it has more fuel, it has better radar, it has all the equipment for a nice exploration ship. Let's continue now to the sleeping area. From the corridor, you can access the sleeping room. We have bunks, night train type. We have bunk beds on one side, one other bed on the other side, with what I call the Pico shelf above. I imagine putting my collection of Picos on that shelf. Compared to ships where the captain has his own quarters, on the Zeus, he can only decide whether he wants to sleep on the upper bed or the lower one. The bathroom is there, and it is a relief, literally. But aside from the typical equipment that follow the shower while you piss and brush your teeth all at once philosophy, there's not much else to say. We also have a couch, and its use varies from a sleeping place for when crew members fight, or if one of the three has a disturbing habit of watching the other while they are sleeping. Across the hall, there is the living area, where we find a cabinet that looks refrigerated so that we can store the food and drinks we take along on our missions. Then we have a cabinet that looks refrigerated so that we can store the food and drinks we take along on our missions. And finally, a cabinet that looks refrigerated so we can store the food and drinks we take along on our missions. I think that this is pretty cold and anonymous as it is, but with a touch of creativity, it can become as cozy and warm as a mountain chalet with a fireplace. And let's not forget one thing, one luxury that among ship of this size is a rare, very rare commodity. The Zeus has a window. No more of those claustrophobic ships, no more of these enclosed rooms. Now we can enjoy unprecedented and incredible views through this 2-inch high and 20-inch long slit. Anyway, it's way better than the freelancer or the C1 living area anyway. Moving on, we get to the mezzanine level, where we have a lot of closet, lockers, cupboards. We have a docking collar that will be very difficult to connect to without rifling and ruining the side of the ship. And we have the deadliest weapon on the ship. No, I'm not talking about the pilot's 2 size 4 cannons or the 2 size 3 lasers in the turret or even the size 2 missiles. No. I'm talking about the ladder, a little size 10 ladder that will kill countless unwitting crew members. Let's see, we have the ram behind, the ladder below and the docking collar to the side. That's a considerable amount of access for a ship of this size, and this might be a welcome change from the aforementioned C1 with its rear ramp alone. Let us now go to the cockpit with the classic choice of hanging seats typical of RSI. In the center, of course, there is the pilot, who pilots. On the left, there is the gunner, who guns. And on the right, there is the potato sack, otherwise known as the co-pilot, whose usefulness is almost nil at the moment, although I dream someday of a situation like that.
Open 3 level long 70, 4 level plus long here, caution beep, and 4 right to read into can, 4 right, triple request.
Think of the relaxation of a game session, all like that. The visuals are great, nothing to say, and the new MFDs are finally readable, although I have the slightly annoying feeling that I'm holding one of those cell phones suitable for elderly people. You know, the one with the incredibly huge buttons. Yeah. On the other hand, I'm beginning to have a certain age myself, so I cash in on the change, give thanks, and move on in silence. Now to the verse favorite pastime. What will it fit inside? Logic tells us that it said a Zeus would comfortably fit a Cyclone, ROC. The Ursa would fit, but only if you disassemble it outside and reassemble it inside. Please stop. Another interesting question is, what will the Zeus fit into? Some people dream of doing what I would call like a Dorito squared, which is putting the Zeus inside a Polaris. I think it's going to be difficult, but maybe, just maybe, with some maneuvering. Well, that's it for this very peculiar review. If you want me to review other ships, all you have to do is gift them to me, because I only have this one. Then I will in turn give them away to lucky channel subscriber so the channel can grow and I can come up with even more ways to steal 10 minutes out of your life every week. Leave a like if you want, leave 2 if you can also log in with a friend's account. Subscribe to the channel, join us on Discord, in short, do whatever you want. That's all for today. Remember, stay happy, stay Zeus, but most importantly, stay Bob.